highlights, Lifestyle Europe, coming up on the show. Sleek style, Denmark's Jacob Jensen marks 50 years of successful design. Back to basics, the Michelin guide refreshes its priorities. Philosophical spaces, two landscape architects create inspirational gardens. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Robin Merrill.
And a very warm welcome from Berlin. The young conductor Jan Moritz Onken took up an interesting post in Kazakhstan in 2007. Courtesy of the Goethe Institute, he went to the capital Almaty to spend a year with the youth orchestra there. The fruits of his labours are now to be heard as he's on tour with the orchestra here in Germany. Two very different countries brought together by music.
100 young musicians from Kazakhstan. Their young conductor from Germany, Jan Moritz Onken, is sightseeing in Bonn, for now the last stop of his tour with the Almaty National Conservatory Symphony Orchestra. They've been rehearsing for this tour for a year.
This tour has been a really great experience for us, because many musicians in the orchestra have come to Germany for the first time, to Europe for the first time, and for some it was even the first time they had flown. It's fascinating to see how two different worlds come together and meet each other and make music.
Onken speaks fluent Russian, but for the rehearsals of Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, he needs no words at all.
I think it's important for me to do as much as possible to help my orchestra understand me better. In other words, understand the environment I grew up in, the values I take for granted, the attitudes I'm used to. For example, with regard to discipline and punctuality, similar values.
When Jan Moritz Onken arrived in Almaty a year ago, he was fascinated by the multi-ethnic state of Kazakhstan and its magnificent landscape.
For a start, I found enormous potential, really thrilling talent, a great deal of interest, and of course many fears, many doubts, and you could say that there was a lack of self-confidence at first.
Onken took his musicians on trips and danced salsa with them. For this conductor, music is not confined to the rehearsal room.
As an orchestra, we've set ourselves the goal of giving a concert in Carnegie Hall in autumn 2009.
And even though it wasn't the renowned Carnegie Hall in New York, the concerts in Bonn and Berlin were sold out.
Music speaks a very clear language. For me, it's perhaps the clearest, purest, most distinct and strongest language.
It's a language that Jan Moritz Onken uses to communicate with traditional Kazakh musicians, and that the audience understands without problems.
Danish design is all about minimalism and clear lines, and one of the best examples of this is the iconic designs of Bang & Olufsen hi-fi equipment back in the 70s and 80s. This was the work of Jacob Jensen and brought him international fame. Company is now run by Jensen's son Timothy, but the two of them have been building up their own private museum to celebrate the firm's 50th anniversary.
It's in a quiet, peaceful place, far from the bustle of the city. The private museum of Timothy and Jacob Jensen. It's in a reconstructed barn near the village of Helsko in northern Denmark. It houses treasures from the past half-century, The collection is by no means complete. They're still looking all over the world for early works, but there are enough items to give a broad view of the designs by Jensen father and son.
Good design in general, it's when things are simple, easy to understand. At the same time, you believe it, you trust it. You have this feeling of that whoever made that was doing the truth the way he wanted to do it.
I think the most honest designer you can think of is nature. And despite you find objects or animals in nature that you have never seen before, they still speak very clearly to you. So I think, yeah, good design is honest design.
Over a period of almost 3 decades, Jacob Jensen designed more than 200 products for Bang & Olufsen. They are true design classics.
You should be able to, for 10 meters away, to see this is a Bang & Olufsen, 10 meters difference. Then you have to come in 2 meters and look at it. Yeah, I like to touch that. Then you go closer and you have a feeling of touching things. That's 3 dimensions, 3 steps. Then you get curious, what is this? What can this do? Ah!
Another Jacob Jensen classic is the Margarita Bowl. 40 million of it sold all over the world in the last 50 years. Now, Timothy Jensen has designed its successor, the Victoria Bowl.
As the American says, knock the stupidity out of it, make it better. We put more material into the spout so it won't crack that easy. We made a better handle. It's a better grip. We made a hole so you can hang it. I think a lot of designers, if they make a bowl, they make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they put it into production. We have made 70 prototypes of this one.
Their design studio was built by one of Jacob Jensen's teachers and later extended by Timothy Jensen. In this rural setting, Timothy Jensen and 10 or so colleagues designed products that are sold and enjoyed all over the world.
Sometimes people ask, well, why are you not in the city? I just think, you look out the window, that's the answer. That's why I'm not in the city. If you have to write a book in the subway, or in a hot air balloon, or in a bedroom, or in Kilimanjaro, or in Berlin, it's going to be slightly different, that book. It's still going to be a book, but it will be different because, of course, you get influenced by the surrounding.
And conditions here are ideal for Jensen's favorite hobby, sailing. Jacob in particular has plenty of time for it since he retired in 1990, though he still does come in to work on individual projects.
I remember at one point there was some problems in the studio. He said, Timmy, that you can do easily. Just as good as I can, maybe even better. Figure it out yourself. Bye-bye. It was a release for me. I knew now it will have a value that will last longer than I live. Regardless, I'm old, but it's better as it ever has been.
The collection at the museum is bound to grow as the Jensens continue to create more and more lovely designs.
Michelin stars awarded to restaurants are a mark of great cuisine. When the Michelin Guide began, it was all about the food and nothing else. Meanwhile, presentation and ambiance came to matter more. But recently, the Michelin inspectors have been told to go back to basics and award stars purely for excellence in the kitchen.
There's a lot of chopping and stirring in the kitchen because in a few months, it will be time to award Michelin stars again, the highest recognition for a chef. It's the food rather than the ambiance that counts here. There are only 15 restaurants in Germany that have 2 stars, including the Hummerstübchen in Düsseldorf. Restaurant critics often eat here, but it's not easy to maintain high standards.
Michelin has always said, and I must defend the guide here, even though they didn't respect it themselves. For many years, they always said that the stars and the awards were for the cuisine and had nothing to do with the fine china or priority given to luxury limousines and so forth. But they didn't stick to that in the old days. Today they verify it to a certain extent, and have shown that in the past few years, but really in the last 2 or 3 years, that they're actually taking it very seriously and giving high awards solely for cuisine.
So does the cuisine in the 2-star restaurant Hummerstübchen make the grade? Jürgen Dolase is testing roast pork with langoustines on a pea mousse.
It's very tender. You can see that with the very first slice. It goes through easily. This tender texture. It combines wonderfully with the fish, which has a similar texture. When you eat it, you get the feeling that the things go together as if they were grown together.
Le Moissonnier in Cologne is a second example. The restaurant was awarded a 2nd star just a year ago, although the surroundings here are somewhat simple and casual.
We wanted what goes on in the kitchen to be the Rolls-Royce, as it were, and we wanted to keep the simplicity out front, so that our guests feel that no matter how they come, in jeans or in a suit, they won't be wearing the wrong thing, and they'll feel at home here. That's very important.
Vincent Moissonnier has been relying on his chef, Eric Marchand, for more than 20 years. Their concept of great culinary art in a no-nonsense atmosphere has finally paid off.
Le Moissonnier is a very unusual restaurant. I've fought for years for this restaurant to be rated as highly as it is now, because I always had the impression that there was a great deal of freedom in the kitchen. We have a chef who comes from southern France, and he has his own very personal taste. In no other restaurant does food taste as good as his, and everyone who comes here says, somehow it tastes good, but I don't know why.
The regular tables in Le Moissonnier don't even have tablecloths, because the meal takes center stage.
Our cuisine reflects our character. It's just as we are. We're fun-loving and joyful, and so are our dishes. We want our guests to relax. We don't want them to be bored, and we want them to concentrate on what's on their plates. They're small puzzle games, and we want guests to take part. And our surprise journey of discovery is reflected in our dishes.
And there are restaurants in other German cities that appear simple, but which are rated highly by the critics. It's clear that haute cuisine does not have to be ostentatious, just fresh and cleverly prepared.
And so to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, arguably the world's widest-ranging festival of the performing arts. Anything goes in the Scottish capital at this time of year, and the only thing you won't find there is an empty hotel room. The Fringe is well known as a real stepping stone for young talent, like this dance company who are making their way on the modern dance scene.
It's the 5th time that the British group Two-Faced Dance has appeared at the Fringe Festival, or Fringe for short. The 8 young men from Hereford in Western England have already managed to land one coveted gig, an appearance at the MTV Awards in Lisbon.
A promoter saw us and called us up a month later. He said we had to fly to Lisbon to appear at the MTV Awards. It was incredible. We appeared at the after-show party, a really big show. It was great.
The Fringe began 61 years ago as a counter-movement to the official Edinburgh Festival, and it's grown steadily ever since. But there's still one special feature. There's no entrance jury at the Fringe. Basically, anyone who wants to can come here and perform.
This is not just only an arts festival, but is a marketplace. All the companies, all professional companies, and those who want to be professional, they come here to promote themselves.
And promotion really is what they do. During the 3 weeks of the festival, more than 2,000 artists compete for audience attention. On the Royal Mile, they use every means possible to entice festival visitors to see their shows. like the lads from Two-Faced Dance.
Contemporary acrobatic ballet, fusion of breakdance contemporary ballet. 8 men for 55 minutes, gravity defying. This happens? Yeah, this happens in this. This happens in the show.
We're a professional group now. Before, we were only semi-professionals. But now that we say we're professionals on the flyers, we have to dance like professionals.
The Fringe lasts for 3 weeks in all, and Two-Faced Dance appear on stage every afternoon. Afterwards, the dancers stroll through Edinburgh looking for inspiration from other groups. In the Universal Arts Theatre, for example, where the French group Chico's Mambo is performing. Not very well known outside France yet, they hope the Fringe will change this. Their recipe is a mixture of dance and comedy. The 4 dancers hope to be spotted by one of the many talent scouts.
You can enter in the UK, like London, and all. It's a difficult place to enter, London, and after all the country in the world.
The Underbelly, a dance tent in the shape of a cow. Two-Faced Dance's shows attract good audiences, and although the dancers are well known by now, they plan to return to the Fringe again next year.
It's well worth a visit, the Fringe, if you can find a hotel room. Breimann and Bruun are recognised as one of the most innovative partnerships in the field of landscape architecture, and one of the busiest too. Even celebrities have to wait their turn for this green-fingered pair to work their magic. Of course, their great talent is to be able to plant a garden knowing how it will look years later.
Shimmering glass pebbles and oak trees. This is a roof garden in the center of Hamburg. It's both a work of art and a garden. The work of Breimann and Bruun. Henning Breimann, the visionary, and Bertel Bruun, the practical creator. Together, they're Breimann and Bruun, landscape garden architects.
Breimann and Bruun stand for innovative gardening. We try to develop new perspectives in landscape gardening that express themselves as poetry.
And it's thanks to this poetry that the 2 landscape architects have shot to the top of their profession in just a few years. They were put in charge of this building in Frankfurt, coming up with 32 designs for winter gardens, and it's where they planted over 1,000 shrubs and trees in the style of a Japanese tea garden. The concept was to lighten the load of overstressed office workers through a greener environment.
Landscape gardening has always been an art form that can take a long time to develop. That's a complex contradiction in our modern world. We're trying to get across to our customers that our gardens are not just about how they look today. They're about what they'll be like in the next generation, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and in 100 years. What will happen then? In that way, landscape gardening can contribute an awful lot to our modern lives.
In a converted factory building in central Hamburg, Breimann and Bruun are working with their team on private garden designs as well as gigantic parks. Hand-painted watercolor plans show the attention to detail. Just like a custom-made suit, their gardens are individually designed for each client.
Gardens have reassumed a unique position in society in the 21st century. Because the world is getting smaller, space is getting smaller, and time is getting shorter. As landscape gardeners, we're trying to recover a piece of that lost paradise, to win back nature.
In the company's workshop, models are constructed for each of their projects. The intention is to make nature in the planning stage as tangible as possible, such as this villa on the island of Mallorca. The garden is an extension of the house's style.
accurately cut cypress tree hedges, olive trees as a homage to the surrounding landscape. Some of their projects are developed over many years.
We do pick our clients on the basis of whether they want something unusual and if they want to cooperate with us over a long period of time. A garden like one of ours is not finished when it has been planted. It's just started to grow. It can take 5, 10, 15 years, and it's very important for us to follow that process.
Along with very select gardens for private clients, they have also specialized in large projects. They've already invested years of work in the National German Garden Show coming up in 2009. The highlight there will be their floating meadow.
The biggest challenge for us was planning a futuristic design for the 21st century 10 years in advance. What is going to be modern in the 21st century? We spent years working out the details until we managed to come up with a concept that was new. A garden where people would experience something different.
Gardens created by Breimann and Brunn have space for both the new and the old, and have something to offer the next generation as well.
That's all we've got time for on this edition. Join us next time, though. So until then, goodbye.